Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, podcast Pete and lifestyle coach. And man, we got a special guest, so I want you to pay attention. We get one body, and if we don't take care of it, it don't take care of us. So, Brett, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into your story and the podcast.
All right. Well, my name's Brett Stanley. My business is The Body Architect. So people call me Brett the Body Architect. I'm a personal trainer, in case you don't get that from the title. And who I serve whoever God puts before me. So I can help people in numerous ways. So that's how He uses me. And I love helping people. So I love serving the community and anyone I encounter.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Crystal Duke. She talks the same way, and we kid around. I was calling her like a couple weeks ago, and I said, "Hey, Crystal, when am I going to be able to get on my equipment? When are they moving out?" And she goes, "Give it a couple weeks," and because or only lasts so long, and then all of a sudden that I'm going to get in shape stops, and it's a little painful or it's inconvenient, and we stop. So my question is, like, at what point in your journey did you lean into being a body architect and making it a career?
Ooh, leaning into it. Now, this story might not be short. I was
Okay.
actually practicing with the world basketball team, and the sponsorship ended up falling through after I had quit all of my jobs. So I was like, what am I going to do, God? I don't have a job right now. And a guy walked up to me and said, "Hey, I'm opening a personal training studio in December. Wonder if you would like to come and work with me." So I ended up going on board with him, and I didn't know where it came from, how it happened, why he wanted me. And, I found out later the reason we got connected, but that's how I ended up starting being a personal trainer and got certified, and then eventually just moved on to just loving it so much. I wanted to start my own business because people felt like I was very good at what I was doing.
I love that. And, I've had a lot of side gigs over my career, and I've been fired 5 times. I've quit 5 times. I realized I wasn't employable. So what I wanted to know for our viewers to kind of glean from, we go from that regular paycheck to our own business, and it's kind of like you don't create value, you don't get paid. What was that transition like when you were used to a paycheck and now you had to make it, earn it, create it? What was that transition like in your journey?
Well, with me being a former athlete, or I consider myself to still be an athlete, when obstacles come up, I'm used to learning how to push and fight through and work hard. And I know that you have to work hard in order to get results or to grow and excel. So it was a learning experience to go from just relying on having a paycheck to, if I don't work hard, if I don't make myself successful, then I won't get any money. I can't pay the bills. And I make my success, or I judge my success based upon my client's success. Because if they're successful, then I feel like I'm successful.
What was the toughest thing? Because I always hear people and they're really good at what they do, but I say, and this is just my own saying, they're a well-kept secret. And if we don't amplify ourselves out, a lot of people don't know how they can be served by you. So how do you, like, in your journey, how were you able to amplify yourself out? Was it through your clients? But give us a little bit more that people could kind of understand that this is a good strategy to make sure that you're not a well-kept secret.
Hmm. How do I amplify myself out? I think it really just happened naturally because I care so much about my clients getting their results and reaching their goals. And I realized the more I poured into them, the more I catered to them and, okay, what is it you want to do? Why do you want to do that? Just really finding out the heartfelt reason on why they have the goals that they want allows me to detail the programs for them, call and check on them, make sure they're doing everything that we've talked about. And when they are successful, all their friends see it. They see their bodies have changed. The friends come running to them. What have you been doing? Oh, I've been going to this trainer, Brett. So me focusing on really making my clients successful has been what has made my business grow and set me apart. The difference is I believe that my clients realize how much I care about them
Mhm.
and them being successful. And a
That's
lot of
beautiful.
trainers just seem like they're in it for the money or to try to make money, but that's not my goal. My goal is to see them happy and joyous and successful. And that's what brings me joy in my heart.
I love it. My college roommate was an athlete in college, a diver. So he was there, 5 o'clock in the morning, going through all the reps. And I actually ran into his buddy. He went to our high school, and I hadn't seen him in 50 years. And I got a chance to have him on the podcast, talk to him. And I saw a common thing that when you have the discipline to play college
Yes.
athletics, it transforms into
Into
success.
life.
So,
Yes.
what do you think? What do you think in your journey as an athlete? Why do you, I mean, I know some of the reasons, but just from your viewpoint, why do you think that is so prevalent out there that athletes tend to be very successful in what they do?
Man, that's a great question. And I don't know if people normally think about that question. Um, the athletes who are successful, they have drive, discipline, dedication. They're willing to put in the work. When other people want to take it easy, they don't put in as many hours. And with me being an athlete and training numerous athletes, I can see the difference from the high school level to the professional level. I've seen the difference even at the professional level of athletes who did not have great seasons and the ones who always have good seasons.
Mhm.
And it's been about the work that they're putting in, the discipline they put in, them taking care of their bodies. That's kind of a formula, like a recipe
Mhm.
that the athletes that are successful take in order to be recognized and to be the star player on the team. They just put in a lot more work. So if people put in the work like that, that's why I feel like the athletes are more successful because they understand the work that goes into it.
Mm, I love that. I like to keep things simple. And, when Audrey introduced, said, "Hey, you got to have Brett on there." And I searched you and I saw Body Architect. I think that is brilliant. How did you come up with that name?
That was all God.
Mhm.
That was all God. Um, my friends, I mean, my first name is Brett. My middle name is Arthur. So for the longest, my friends were calling me BA. And from there, I ended up getting a license plate which said the BA. And people would ask me about it, and they're like, the BA, like, what is that? And then they found out I was a trainer. So when I decided I'm going to go out on my own and, start my business, I was just thinking about what could be my business name, what really represents me and how I think and how I approach things. And I woke up in the middle of the night and said, that's it. The body architect. That is it. That's got to be it. I just was writing names down every night. I would wake up in the middle of the night and write down names. And it just really didn't hit hard with me in my heart. But as soon as it revealed the body architect to me, I said, that's got to be it right there. So I was sold with that because it just illuminates everything that I'm about.
Yeah. I like the brain works we have 12 to 60,000 thoughts that go through us. And sometimes we're not as simple and as easy for our brain to get these concepts. So when you have something like body architect, I know immediately what it is. And I remember when Audrey said that, I immediately like, okay, that's brilliant. I love it. My friend Crystal, when I had a stroke 4 years ago. And so, walking is, a challenge. I don't get my 10,000 steps in like everybody else because I got to think about every step, but I do the bike. And she was telling me, this was back when I first had her on my podcast a couple years ago. Her mom was maybe in her 70s, mid 70s, but she was never really into the exercising, and doing that. And so what she did, she actually left her profession to become a physical trainer from being a PT. And she told me that she actually took her mom to the gym because they would always give her equipment. They'd give her a bike. They'd give her this. And it wouldn't go anywhere. It would just sit and collect dust. But as soon as took her to the gym and started working with her and getting her familiar with the gym, now 2.5, 3, 5 years later, she has a community. They go together. She's in great shape. Really now is like got the rhythm. So what do you think when I know her story? So let's talk about your clients. When you're working with your clients and they haven't had the feeling of being in shape or getting that dopamine hit, how do you work with them to get them through that awkward stage?
If it would be an awkward stage, it's me being there with them. You kind of touched on that when you said the PT started going to the gym with her. That accountability and having someone be with you seems to be a huge motivator or encourager for people who struggle with doing it on their own. And that's what a lot of my clients will say as well is, if you weren't here with me or if you weren't standing there making me do this, I wouldn't do it. So it says a lot for having someone with you that can keep you accountable, that you trust, that is encouraging you as well to do the things that, seem difficult for you. And I believe what they realize after doing it, as you said, after they've done it for a while, 2-3 weeks, they start getting into a rhythm, and then now they can be successful because they have consistency.
Yeah, there is a lot to be said about accountability. I just finished a rough draft of a book, and I had a guy from church who's written a children's book. He's young. He's really like into automation and in different technology. So I asked him if he would help me get going, and I would text him each day to tell him what I did. And it was like amazing because I know accountability works, But there was one day that I didn't really feel like doing it, but I knew I had to text him, and I knew I
That's
had
it.
to be accountable. So I did it, and I finished it
That's it.
sooner because I knew he was, one, waiting to hear from me. Two, I was looking for that validation where you do thumbs up or something like that. So it really does work, accountability. So talk to me about community. How important
Oh,
is
totally.
community in how you're helping your clients?
Oh, well, I can give you an example. I had one client that came and her girlfriend started and couldn't keep up. She said, I'm just going to do stuff on my own. And so the one that stayed with me, I focused on her and really helped her, and her body transformed literally in 8 weeks when she
Mm.
started doing what I was telling her. I had people running up to me from everywhere going, what in the world did you do with this woman? Like, I went on vacation for a couple of weeks and I come back and she's half the size that she was when I left. All of her girlfriends or friends wanted to start training with me. So I put them together. And
Mm.
then those started changing. And then their friends saw them, and then their friends started coming. And then all of them are working out together. And the ones who didn't know each other got to know each other. They started holding each other accountable. So to what you were saying, hey, are you going to be here on Wednesday? Yes, I'm going to be here. Okay, I'll see you Wednesday. Are you going to be here on Friday? So I realized that they were keeping each other accountable
Mm.
because that camaraderie is something about that camaraderie and going through it together that really
Mm.
encourages people. That's why there's so many group classes out there. But the group classes are different because the typical group class at a gym, they're not watching the form and going around and correcting people's form when they're not doing it correctly. They're just standing in the front teaching the class.
Mhm.
So what I do as partner training is still detailed because I'm watching every individual and making sure that their form is correctly so they're doing things safely.
Mm. Let's go back. I like to always say, we're here today, we learn lessons. If you had to go back and talk to a 20-year-old Brett, and you're going to give him advice based on what you've learned in life so far, what would you tell him?
Short answer, love people.
Hmm.
Love people.
Hmm. Gosh, that is so good. Yeah, it's so good. Life is simple. And that is very simple. But
Yeah,
it's not always what do we say is common sense is not always common practice. It's
it's
like
not common
love
anymore.
people, love. I mean, so let's go back to your athlete days. Like who encouraged you to go down that route?
Which route specifically? Just
Like,
being an
did
athlete?
you start off like not everybody starts off wanting to, excel in athletics. So how did you get started and who influenced you to get started?
Wow, I would have to say my parents.
Mm.
I played 3 sports starting at age 7. I played basketball, baseball, and football
Mm.
starting at age 7. So I was always active. Um, both of them saw that I enjoyed athletics and playing sports, but they also were teachers. So
Mhm.
they made sure that my academics were up to par and told me if I did not have good grades, I would no longer be playing.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, so in order for me to do this, I need to make sure that my grades are great. So I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to keep playing. So I kept my grades up, and I did that all the way through high school, through college. And so I would say, me being an athlete or into athletics, I owe that to my parents.
That is so good. Man, we love, sometimes I have six granddaughters and two daughters. And so you never really see things until later in life as a parent. And so, here talking about what you just shared with our audience to encourage our parents out there, it's like a delayed gratification. It doesn't happen until later. So, but if you keep pouring in and things really start to show you later in life. What would you say when you come down to, like, how does Brett challenge himself? What do you do to challenge yourself that you could share with our community?
Ooh, just myself, for me, or
Yeah,
in
just you.
business? Just
Yeah,
me.
just mhm.
Uh, I'm consistent with going to the gym. I am a mentor to numerous people outside the gym.
Mhm.
I'm also a basketball coach. So myself is just me trying to see how I can become a better me. If I made a mistake in the past, or how I deal with people. In my early years as a trainer, people said I was very militant. They were like, "Were you in the military? You seem very strict about the rules."
Mhm.
And I said, "No, but I know that there has to be discipline." And I realized I cannot train all of my clients that way. I can't train all of my clients the same way. I can't train the house moms like I train my athletes. The
Mhm.
motivation is different. So the coaching has to be different. I can't train every athlete the same way. Some I could yell at, and that encourages them, and others I have to go over and say, "Hey, just keep working hard. You'll get it," and give them a pat on the shoulder. So how I have grown, and I continue to grow, is just learning what people need from me
Mhm.
to motivate them. Because once they're motivated and they know that I'm going to hold them accountable, then it's just about how I can encourage and motivate them to be successful. So that's how I try to grow, is just trying to see how I can help everyone. Whatever I need to do, oh, I need to change how I'm doing this for this person to be
Mhm.
successful. So that's how I encourage myself to grow.
That's great. What I had a lady on my podcast. This is a couple 3 years ago almost, and she was now into nutrition. She has a franchise called Clean Eats, and she was sharing with me that most of her clients are athletes, gym people, because they realize that they got to fuel themselves properly to be able to
Mhm.
have the energy to
Yes.
be able to do. So, how do you fuel yourself that you could share with our community?
How do I fuel myself? I think I know the direction you may be going with that question. Um, you have to get your calories in. So much information is out there that is false when it comes to nutrition and what you
Hmm.
need to do. You have the guys in the gym who are saying, "Oh, you got to have this much protein more than what you weigh," which is false. That's not true.
Hmm.
You also have all of the fads that are around. Oh, you can't eat carbs because of this, or you need to do this, or you need to starve yourself. And it's a bunch of lies. They use it to market, to sell whatever product they're trying to sell. And I found that out many years ago when I was in an infomercial for a piece of equipment called a Perfect Glide. and they told me what to say in the
Mm.
infomercial. And that's when I realized, you know what, all of this stuff is just to get money. You know, they brought me on as being a personal trainer. So they said that I'm the expert. And then they told me what to say. And I went, okay, I'm getting paid for this to be on there. Okay, I'll say that. It was a piece of equipment I had never used before.
Mm-hmm.
And they had me say, I recommend it to all of my clients. So
Wow.
I realized that day, I'm like, okay, a lot of this stuff that comes on TV is a hoax. So when I see the commercials come out and I'm like, that guy did not use that piece of equipment to look the way that he does. And I've
Mm-hmm.
realized how much
Brett will be back in a minute. Somehow we must have had the electricity go out. So we'll wait for him. He'll be back. I think we saw him leave. And just as that happened, the signal went off. So we'll be able to bring you more of Brett in just a few minutes. But I think what I want you to take home from this is discipline makes a difference. Accountability makes a difference. Lean into people that are knowledgeable and that show people the results through the people that they serve. Brett talked about how his clients share the word. Yeah, that it is so important to understand that if you love on people, serve them, deliver the results that you promise, people will share. They will tell people about it. So for those that are struggling in this area, share this video with people. Share this with people you think need to know about Brett, that they can know the resources that are out there, know somebody that cares, whether it's Brett or Crystal. Okay, here he comes back. I love it. I love
I'm
it.
back.
Hey, I love
Woo.
it.
All right. Did it cut in the middle of it or
Yeah, I did. I was like Brett commentary. So I was giving him a summary of
okay.
before it was cut off. So we didn't miss a beat. We just kind of went,
Oh,
I
great, great,
living
great.
in my own way of what I thought our viewers could summarize, because you gave so many good points of interest that are so important, because there is a lot of misinformation out there. And I remember this was probably about a year
True.
ago. Somebody told me about Yuka, and Yuka. It's an app. And I started scanning some of the things that I was buying. And I was like going, I'm not putting that in my body, because it said healthy, like it would say organic, but it had all kinds of stuff in it. Now, before I really look at things, I scan it and see what the score is, because I'm not into reading labels. I don't know, understand all this stuff. It's usually, if it's too complicated, it's probably not good for you. Do you, like, when you're
Yeah,
making
you can't understand the words.
yeah, it's like the word is so long, and it's like, and I remember thought I was doing banana pudding, and I bought the Kraft banana pudding, but I put nuts and blueberries and all this stuff in it, bananas, and I couldn't get my grandkids to eat it. Then when I found Yucca, I scanned it and it was a 0 out of 100. And it said all the additives in there.
Mm,
So I immediately cut that out, and I put Greek yogurt that scored very high, and then put all my stuff in it.
right.
But there is so many things out there. What could you tell our viewers, like, how do you stay informed of sources that are reliable and the ones that's just out there throwing up a lot of noise? How does Brett stay on the cutting edge?
Well, when it comes to the nutrition aspect, I do take continuing education courses.
Mhm.
I also years ago, had a nutritionist that was at the personal training studio where I was. So had numerous conversations with hers. And then the gym that I was at before I went and started my own business as well, they had a nutritionist there. So I've constantly had numerous conversations with licensed nutritionists to find out about foods. And I had one help me as well to achieve the goals that I was trying to achieve. And I realized I wasn't doing the right things. So, in dealing with the nutritionist, I've gotten a lot of knowledge and a lot of education on what's good to eat, what's not good to eat. And then they've even told me that even the things that are good to eat, you don't want to go overboard with those either. You know, like the guys who say, yes, you have to eat an outrageous amount of protein. If you eat too much protein, then it's harmful to your kidneys. So there's a formula that the nutritionists have, even for something like how much protein you can eat. And then, you know, things about the carbs. What I work with my clients on is the timing. It's not just, okay, you can eat carbs or you can't eat carbs. Carbs give you energy. So there's a certain time of day where you should eat the carbs. What happens in America is we're trained to get up in the morning and be rushing around, barely eat breakfast, go to work, eat a salad with something on it, come home. Now that you're done with work, you eat the calories that could be 3 meals at that one time for dinner. And then you sit on the couch and watch TV or you go to sleep. And you wonder why so many people in America are obese or huge. So the thing that I've informed my clients about, which they love, is still have carbs. It's a secret. You can still have carbs. Just have them earlier in the day when you need the energy to go to the gym, to take your kids to school and to go work out or run to the grocery store or to do work at your job. That's when you need the carbs. When you get to your evening meal, you don't need a lot of carbs there. You don't need a lot of calories there because you're not going to burn it off sitting on the couch. You're being stable and sedentary. So when I've had them switch that, they were so excited. You mean I could still have bread? You mean I could still have this? I'm like, oh, I could still have rice. Yes. Try to have it during the day when your body can use that as fuel. And then don't have it at night. And that seemed to have a huge impact on my clients reaching their goals.
That's so great. How, you know, when it comes to you and your day, you know, we seldom, like the average American watches 4 hours of TV and they scroll like 2.5 hours of like TikTok videos. And so they spend 6.5 hours and then they'll say they don't have time to go to the gym or something like that. It's like prioritize. How do you prioritize your day? If you could share that with our community. Did you hear that?
Oh, I missed the question. You cut out for a second. Would you?
How do you prioritize your day? Like, you know, our decisions that we make and what we decide, like, how does Brett, you know, decide and prioritize a day? It might be, am I cutting out? I think we might be cutting out. Can you hear me, Brett?
Yes, okay. We are cutting.
Yeah. Why don't we do this?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of Brett? It's Brett Stanley, the body architect, and you can find them online. You can find them. Oh, I was answering the question. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, we're getting some interference here. Tell me when you can hear me. I'll keep talking because I got one final question. Can you hear me now, Brett? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Brett?
Yes, I do hear you now.
I have one final question.
Yes. We're doing the commercial.
What would you want our viewers to take home? What would be the one thing you want us to take home from our time on this podcast?
I believe I got the question, if you can hear me.
Yeah, the one thing you would want our viewers to take home.
Really, that no matter what your age, yes, that your age doesn't matter. That no matter what your age, you can get in shape, you can lose weight, you can gain muscle. People have used age as an excuse for so many years. I told them, you saying, oh, you got to take it easy on me because I'm old, and they're 40 or 50 years old. And I say, well, I have a 91-year-old that's doing those.
Yeah.
So stop calling yourself old.
Yeah.
There's a way.
Awesome. Brett, thank you.
There's a will, there's a way. So if they're willing to take that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brett. I appreciate you sharing your story and your